fans, welcome back to the Dude Cave. I'm Jason. At time of recording, it is the 25th of October 2016, and you are watching Comic Book Opinions. Today I'll be sharing my opinions on a few books that I've been reading recently. So today I'll be talking about Trinity, issue number 2, Doctor Who, Third Doctor Adventures, issue number 2, Green Arrow, issue number 9, Black Widow, issue number 7, and Reborn, issue number 1. So I think without further ado, I think it's that time again, looking at my watch. Yeah, it's definitely that time. It's opinion time. So first up for opinion time, it is Trinity, issue number 2 from DC Comics, part of their Rebirth line. This is written, drawn, and cover is also done by Francis Manapul. I absolutely love Manapul's art. I'm going to put that on the table right now. He's just a gorgeous, gorgeous artist. We don't, this issue is a bit more conservative with some of the layouts. I'm trying to see if I can find like a double page spread. This is like one of the few double page spreads that he does, but he doesn't really play around with the layouts this issue like he does some issues. But the art throughout this is just still gorgeous. I just absolutely love what he does. The story as well, Trinity kind of follows Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman. We know with Rebirth we've got a new Superman, that the Superman of the New 52 is dead, he died, and that the Superman from the original kind of continuity, he's now in what is the New 52 world. So he is kind of, there's a bit of distrust still between because you know what Batman's like. He doesn't know this Clark Kent. The Clark Kent he knew died. So they're still trying to kind of bond, and Lois invited them all around to dinner because this Superman from the other universe, he's married to Lois Lane from his universe, and they have a child, and they're all here together. And so we get a different Superman because he's Superman the father now, and that's really added a different dynamic to it, to the having the super family. I think it's really freshened him up, and plus having Superman back, it's just brilliant because that New 52, they didn't really get Superman till he was dying, and then they got him right. So it's really interesting how awkward that dinner was. And like they seemingly were transported back in time at the end of the last issue to Smallwood when Superman's dad was still alive. So this issue kind of like they run into young Clark and into Jonathan Kent, and it's really interesting, kind of the interactions, and it basically, yeah, it's a superhero comic, but this is a story about a father and a son, and about the son now being a father himself and kind of totally getting a lot of the things his dad did for him, because now he's a father and he can understand that thought process a bit more. And it's just a really nice, heartwarming story. Manapul just totally gets this Superman, as well as really gets bang on Wonder Woman and Batman. And I love the interactions between the three. But also, I think the star of the issue is the interactions between Superman and Jonathan Kent. It's just brilliant, a brilliant issue. But all the time, you've kind of got this nagging feeling of like, how have they ended up in the past? Why are they there? By the end of the issue, we get answers, and everything kind of comes around full circle, and things make more sense. But this was just brilliant. I just absolutely love this. I adore this book. Like I say, I'm biased anyway because I love Manapul's art, but I just also really enjoyed his writing, and this was just fantastic. A tour de force for a writer-artist, and yeah, really loved it. So next up, from Titan Comics, we have Doctor Who, Third Doctor Adventures, issue number 2. And this is written by Paul Cornell with art by Christopher Jones. And this is just absolutely superb. It follows the first issue, and it is just brilliant because they hit everything bang on. I was moaning back in the last video I did about the nostalgia buzz, and about how Revolution Mask issue number 1 kind of totally killed that buzz. This book gets it spot on. And also I mentioned Torchwood, which I went in expected to be a continuation of the TV show, which was actually followed on from a book that was set after the TV show. So I was a bit lost. This is just perfect because it's got everything you expect from John Pertwee's era. You've got Unit, you've got the Master, you've got Joe Grant, but you add in there, we added in, we've got the Second Doctor in here as well, and a new alien threat. And I just absolutely loved it. It modernizes it in the right ways, but still has everything that you'd remember from the original run. And it's just brilliant. It feels like a Lost Tale modernized. Brilliant. And I also like the art works really well as well, because you're difficult trying to make those characters seem authentic. But yeah, I also really liked the art here. A really good story. Really enjoyed this. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens next in this, because Titans Doctor Who books mainly have been really good. And if you're like an old school Doctor Who fan, I definitely recommend checking out the third Doctor one, because you will not be disappointed. It is good. Another book that's good that I'm really enjoying is Green Arrow, issue number 9. Um, this is written by Ben Percy with art, and I'm trying to get the dude's first name. Art and color by Stephen Byrne. Um, this was really good. I'm loving Ollie and back together with Black Canary, because when they did the New 52, one of the things, we lost a lot of history. So there was no longer the relationship between Oliver Queen and Black Canary. They'd never been married, never even knew each other. And it's really great to have that back, that they now kind of, even though it's like they've just kind of got together, but they kind of, it feels, and I know what that's like from when I met my wife, you meet that special someone and it's like you've known them for years and you just feel so at ease with them, and you've kind of got that. And I love the interaction from them too. Also loving how Diggle's written, and there's like history between him and Ollie, and it's bad history. And I really like that, because you've got two people that do genuinely care for each other, that they're really good friends, but at the same time, you don't always like your friends. Like sometimes they do stuff, and it's because you care, you get so upset, and you kind of got that there in their relationship. I also really enjoyed the story in that they're trying to help out on this island, try to save these people, but it all goes pear shaped, and they don't end up helping much. They end up making things a bit worse. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. Excited to see where it's going to go. And I wouldn't believe Ben Percy, he wrote the book when I dropped it, and he's writing now, since they relaunched it, has been 100 times better. He's been getting everything spot on, and I just don't understand how you can have the same writer be so different. But yeah, another book that I'm really loving. So moving right on now to Black Widow, issue number 7. And again, another book I like. Another artist I really like in Samney. Chris Samney is just so good at telling a story, and like different artists have different strengths. Some are really good with facial expression and conveying emotion. Some are good at like drawing action or drawing big events, or just gorgeous art, or art that is just really thinking outside the box. And the way they utilize their pages are like really clever. With Chris Samney, his kind of real strength is as a storyteller, that he can convey so much through a series of pictures, that he doesn't need dialogue. And you'll find in this book, Mark Waid would often tone back the dialogue, so that Samney has more freedom to tell the story. And it works with Black Widow, because she's kind of a character who doesn't do any weighted motion, and likewise, she doesn't give more information than she has to. So kind of like having less dialogue actually works. This story, we've got the people from the Red Room. The main woman from the Red Room has got this new thing she's setting up to do more girls like that, and Black Widow wants to shut it down. So she takes this guy that came after her in the last arc, called the Weeping Lion, and they go after the woman to shut her down and find out where these women are. We also get the backstory of the Weeping Lion. We get his history, and I love how they do this, because like these are the history pages that are kind of giving you the backstory, and there's a different kind of color tone that they use like, and then this is the regular kind of pages from the book, and you see there's a different kind of color tone, so you know when you get in the flashbacks or when you get in the present stuff. So that works really well. I really enjoyed this. There's a fantastic twist at the end that I really liked. Um, that you kind of saw coming, but it's still really good. And I think this book, it started out this series, and I was a bit disappointed knowing the creative team. But now that we're like, and I can't believe we're 7 issues in, but now we're 7 issues in, I feel the last about I think 3 issues of this have really exploded, and I've really everything's kind of clicked together. The past, I think it's 3 or 4 issues, just the stories just clicked into gear, and I've really enjoyed this. And it definitely shows that if they wanted to do a Black Widow movie, I think they could make it work. I think she's a character that's got a lot of stuff they could do with her. So yeah, really enjoyed this. So my final book I'm going to share my opinions on today is Reborn, issue number 1. This is written by Mark Millar with art by Greg Capullo and published by Image Comics. And it deals basically with the afterlife. So we kind of kick off the story in Minneapolis, and we have this shooter kind of shooting people. And then the people, they wake up in this strange place, and they don't know where they are. We're then introduced to this woman called Bonnie Black, and she's in hospital. She's had a stroke, and she's kind of contemplating death. And her husband was shot at the beginning of the book by that shooter in Minneapolis, and she's been ever so lonely since he died. And then she kind of has this other stroke, and her whole life kind of flashes before her eyes. And then everything goes kind of like Terminator like, and then we kind of turn a few pages, and it's kind of like, it's not just Terminator, it's kind of like Terminator meets it's like Terminator meets Lord of the Rings kind of. And then she kind of realizes this is the afterlife, and you kind of figuring what's going on. And the issue kind of, I don't want to totally spoil it, but it does end with her meeting her dad. But he's different now, and kind of, you don't have all the answers yet of what's going on, but enough is conveyed that I just loved it. For a start, the character of Bonnie, I just really related to. I'm married now, and I know I cannot imagine my life without my wife in it, you know. And so I can really understand this character of Bonnie and how lonely she feels because she's had to live these years without her husband. And I just totally get that she's lived. I think it's 14 years since her husband died, and I just totally get that. Totally get it. And I think that made that character relatable to me, and kind of drawed me into the book, and got me on an emotional level, and got me totally emotionally invested in the book. And then you get the switch where it goes all like Terminator meets Lord of the Rings, and you're kind of like trying to figure out what's going on here, you know. And as we go on, I'm sure we'll get more answers. But it was just awesome, the way it changes it up, and I'm excited for where we're going to go next issue. I really enjoyable seeing Greg Capullo work on another book. I've only ever seen his art on Batman, so it's really interesting to see him here on another book. And his art, once again, is stellar. Really great stuff. I definitely recommend giving this book a go if you want something a bit different. A really interesting story that really gets you emotionally invested. And but then there's a switch. So if you're like into your sci-fi, it gives a really nice twist to the tale as well. Loved it. So that's me done for another opinions video. Thank you very much for watching. I will be back on Friday with a whole video. I'm not sure when I'll be back after that. It depends if I've got anything to speak about. But if I have, probably Monday, I'll be back with another opinions video. Thank you very much for watching. I've been Jason, coming to you from the Dude Cave on the 25th of October 2016. You've been watching Comic Book Opinions. Keep reading, and bye for now.